Dr. David Graham has been working at the FDA for 20 years. He's a senior official. We sat down with Dr. Graham for his first extended face-to-face television interview. Just who is the FDA working for?
A former manager of mine in the Office of Drug Safety told me that industry was our client. And when I said to him, no, the public is my client, he said I was wrong, that it was industry. FDA is there to serve its client industry. It is not there to serve the public. FDA has become a factory for the approval of new drugs.
To understand how the FDA got to where it is today, you need to go back to 1992. That year, the first President Bush, with the support of both Democrats and Republicans, signed into law the Prescription Drug User Fee Act. The law was passed in response to industry complaints that the FDA wasn't approving drugs fast enough. Part of the deal? The drug companies agreed to start paying the FDA to speed up the approval process.
It worsened a culture within FDA that was already bad to start with, that said, we will approve drugs and we'll approve them quickly.
Because essentially all this money is coming in from the pharmaceutical companies, therefore we need to please the pharmaceutical companies?
Well, that is eventually the mentality that emerged.
That's changed the whole balance of financial power within the agency. Here's the thing. While the industry has been providing more and more money for approvals, Congress has cut spending for the rest of what the FDA does. As a result, almost 4 out of every $5 the FDA spends on drug regulation now goes to getting new drugs approved for sale. You know, I pick up the papers and I read articles that say that the FDA is slow in approving drugs. That the big problem that you all have over there is bureaucratic foot-dragging, keeping important new treatments away from people who need it desperately.
Right. That is a complaint. I think where that complaint originates from is probably from the pharmaceutical industry.
It's not true, though? I mean, even in the cases of a drug that might be necessary to help someone's cancer from progressing.
Well, let's put it this way. If you look at most drugs that get approved on the marketplace, most of them aren't offering a true therapeutic advance.
I mean, you go through this whole rigmarole at the FDA to get a drug approved, and you're saying it doesn't offer much over an existing drug?
No, it usually doesn't offer anything over existing drugs.
Like what?
Let's look at Vioxx. What we say is the truth, trust us. This drug is safe and effective. It's safe and effective because we, the FDA, say it is, and we don't have to produce evidence to justify that. And their reaction is predictably and uniformly the same, which is they deny that there's a problem, and they kill the messenger who brought them the bad news.
One of the things that helps to perpetuate the system the way that it is, you know, the FDA is regulating the pharma world, but the pharma world is all run by the same people. The same people who are regulating all this big pharma are the same people who are running the big pharma, and they go back and forth. You know, you start up, you move up through the FDA, you become important enough. Big pharma will hire you because you have that expertise and all the contacts in the agency, and it goes the other way. If you're in big pharma, well, you learn enough, you know how it is. You got enough buddies on both sides. It's a fact. You can just look at records, public records, and it's a big boys club. You know, may not like that. That's the way our system is. It's not the Star Trek world where if what you need is what you get and la la la, but it is reality. And money wins, money votes, money does everything. And it controls our government as much as we hate to admit it. It motivates the pharmaceutical industry. We're not out in the pharma world. As the commercials will tell you that we're out there to make everybody healthy and happy, and that's not why they're out there. They're there to make money, period. The best drugs in the pharma world are the ones that people have to continue taking forever and ever and ever and ever. That's what the big money is. They want to be able to dose people over and over and over, keep them alive for a couple years at least on all the drugs. That's the incentive for making money. Think it through a little bit. It's sad, but it's reality. If you found the cure for cancer, boom, now what? Now you're not doing nothing. You're out of business too.
That's the problem. Let's look at medical breakthroughs. In 1920, Banting and Best, or Banting up in Canada, had discovered insulin and had this idea that if insulin could be given to a patient with diabetes, type 1 diabetes, it would cure the condition. Within 2 years, Eli Lilly had insulin in drugstores. Let's skip another 20 years. Pneumonia was a scourge until Fleming discovered penicillin. Now penicillin was used, pneumonia left. We haven't had a medical breakthrough in 50 years because today medical breakthroughs put at risk the entire financial underpinnings. If you have medical breakthroughs that replace therapies that are failing, then the profits and the cash flow of those therapies that are failing is lost and lost forever. So that is the biggest barrier to BURZYNSKI or anybody else that brings on a therapy that is superior to what is done today. Hence, we haven't had any major medical breakthroughs for the last 50 years. So what do we have? We have this outreach of awareness. We got people running around with all kinds of colored ribbons saying that I am aware of breast cancer. We got football players wearing pink shoelaces, increasing awareness of breast cancer. There was no movement to increase the awareness of diabetes. There was no movement to increase the awareness of pneumonia. There is no need for any movement to increase the awareness of any disease. You got a serious disease in your culture, you are aware of it. And what awareness doesn't do, it doesn't cure the disease. It's not going to lead to the cure because today, virtually every serious disease has a huge vested interest in the therapies that people are paying money for that fail. So everything is locked. But when you come across with something that cures cancer,